So Chris, fun question. So if this was a passive house renovation, um, you were just explaining that we're seeing about 1750 CFM for the 50 Pascal mark. If we were to do a deep energy retrofit uh, passive house quality,
I don't know.
how much CFM would I see?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You first of all, you would spend, twice of what the house is worth,
Oh, okay.
maybe.
Right, right.
And you would see an 80 to 90% reduction in air leakage.
Sure.
Because you'd be essentially, a deep energy retrofit would be redoing all assemblies
Yep.
to some kind of passive house high performing standard.
Right. So that would be windows, doors, walls, roof,
Air barrier.
air barriers, like the
A
whole shebang.
designated air barrier assembly
Uh huh.
design. Attached and continuous.
Right, right, right.
Super insulation. Not your 20, 40, 60 rule,
Right.
but more like, 30, 50, 80
Right.
rule
Right. Yeah.
to make the energy modeling work.
Sure. Yeah. And for those listening, what that means, he's talking about R value for major parts of the building enclosure. The 20, 40, 60 is kind of like a rule of thumb from a while back that we at least try to aspire to. Um,
Yes, we do.
yeah. And the other stuff he's talking about is what we really want to be doing. Um, but
We really should have been doing 30 years ago.
right, right. So, just informally, if you were gonna coach my wife and I for what you think are the highest value things we can do sooner than later, what would those be that you'd recommend?
I think what we're going to mention in this weatherization work scope, it's somewhat based on opportunities, cost-effective opportunity, but
Yeah.
the head of the house, the top of the house seems to be the major point of opportunity here.
Yep.
With some HVAC upgrades.
Uh-huh.
Doors would be second,
Nice.
to get some airtight insulated doors.
Because we're using them all the time, in and out, and
Yeah.
even less than more than Windows, for sure.
The weatherization upgrade in the attic would include air sealing this kitchen living room ceiling. The strategy might be a flash coat of spray foam to air seal the ceiling tile that we have here.
So flash coat the upper side of the ceiling tile,
Yep.
and then that assumes that you're obviously pulling away all the insulation and
Yes.
all that. So
Yeah. Fiberglass should have been outlawed, 30 years ago.
right.
It's not an airtight insulation.
Yep. All that. Yeah. So part of the thing might
It's a
feature.
good filter.
Yes, right. It's good filter. The thing that you're maybe recommending is some kind of roof attic insulation replacement that gets rid of the fiberglass, so you can get at all the the surfaces to do the air sealing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. To do the air sealing measures, one, and then spray foam or loose fill cellulose is continuous. Spray foam is an air barrier. Cellulose loose fill dampens air leakage, but the strategy is to air seal the attic plane before the cellulose was installed.
Right. And when you say the attic plane, is that the horizontal or the angle?
Ceiling,
Okay,
the ceiling plane.
got it.
And then when air tightness in a building increases, building has less air exchange, then fans and fan ducting for point sources of moisture become more important.
Like we have one fan that's been upgraded, but it needs a better sort of ductwork and baffle on the outside, and there's a couple other fans that also need to be upgraded because they're legacy from 40 years ago and all that. So
They're not pulling a lot of air, and they're noisy, and they use a lot of electricity. And a modern fan is a very low electric use fan, and these fans should be connected to a timer switcher so that they run for 45 minutes an hour and then turn off.
And that's also part of when you do the tightening of the building envelope with the air sealing and the insulation, the fans in these bathrooms are starting to also help ventilate the house, right?
That's right. It's a poor ventilation standard. Using mechanical ventilation to force air exchange in a building is based on occupant behavior.
Right.
It's assuming that that fan's going to be used for an hour a day,
Sure.
continuous, and it's also throwing heated air out of the building.
Right.
So there's an energy penalty there.
Right. So it's more of a stopgap way to get your ventilation when you have increased air tightness, where you might actually do some other kind of mechanical system to get that ventilation.
ERVs, energy recovery ventilation, is now in the Vermont Energy Code for residential buildings.
The 2023 or 2020 or both?
2023 fall.
Okay.
I mean, now, I think it's going into effect now.
Right. Yeah, I know that there was a chorus of people asked it to not get in effect in January, but yep.
Maybe it's fall of 24.
Yeah.
But not to get in the weeds, but Vermont Passive House has been asking the energy upgrade people, the Thermal Efficiency Task Force, to do this for 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Things happen a little.
So when we do an ERV as part of renovation, does that work in tangent with all these wall-mounted heat pumps that so many people seem to be asking about?
Well, a ventilation system is all about providing fresh air and runs independently of an air source heat pump.
Right. So you almost need to do both of them.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. But till that's a requirement for new construction in Vermont.
Yeah.
But for renovations and weatherizations, mechanical ventilation can still work for homeowner.
Right. I.e. the stopgap we were mentioning.
Bath fans, kitchen
Yeah.
fans.
Right.
And remember dryers. Dryers force air exchange too.
Right. Yeah, because they vent to the outside.
They throw inside air out.
Right, and they're also important to close your dryer vent when you're done using it in the cold times of the year, because it will bring air inside the house, and that's
Absolutely.
a heat loss thing.
Yeah.